I never thought that the people closest to me were gonna kick me out. I was left without a family, a home, and no money. But let me introduce myself. My name is Julie, and I graduated from high school a couple of months ago. My whole family, my dad, my mom, and 2 sisters were very happy about my graduation and helped me pick out a college. My dad wanted me to study economics. My mom wanted me to go into graphic design, and my sisters wanted me to be a translator. What did I want? I actually didn't know. In general, I was at a crossroads for quite a long time, and my mom said I should pick a direction already, because the clock was ticking and I had to make a decision before exams. I decided to listen to my parents and pick a serious degree. I began to prepare for the exams, studied all day and night, and was conflicted in my abilities. The day came, and I walked into the exam hall nervously and took out the question paper. It wasn't that hard, actually. I finished quickly and left the hall happy. Several days passed, and the results of the exam were posted in front of the door of the university. I was looking for my last name in the application, and I didn't find it in the lists. I couldn't believe it. I looked through the list again and again from start to finish. No, it can't be. I didn't get through? The tears began to roll down my cheeks, and the first thing I thought about was what I was gonna say to my mom and dad. At that moment, I got a call from my mom. "Darling, Aunt Martha and Uncle Sam are already celebrating your acceptance. Well, don't keep us waiting. What was your score?" For a second, I passed out and did not know what to answer. I whispered, 340, in a trembling voice. I heard my parents clapping with joy in the other end of the line. My aunt and uncle congratulated me, saying that getting as many as 340 points was incredible, and that I am a really bright girl with a big future. I was so ashamed because I didn't actually pass. I lied to my parents. This whole situation was terrible. I sat down on a bench and spent several hours in thought. What do I do? It was too late to apply to other colleges, and there was 0 time for preparation. Suddenly, a crazy idea came to mind. It was so crazy that I thought maybe I was going crazy. I'll pretend that I've been officially accepted. I will fake going to class, and at the same time, I will start intensively preparing for the retake exams. No one would know or check on me. My parents are working, my sisters are busy with their stuff. Everyone will take my word for it. This plan made me feel good in a weird way. It was actually brilliant given my situation. I went home, forgetting about my failure, and started a plan called Operation Deceive the Family. To start, I got college books, a new backpack, new outfits for college, dressed up to par. I walked past my parents, and instead of eating breakfast, I said that I was in a hurry for class. I got so used to the lie that one day I really went to the university. Realizing I was mistaken, I ran back. This went on for several months. Once my father's colleague and his family came to visit us, we sat down at the table and ate supper. A colleague asked where I went for college and what I was studying. I said without a second thought, the Department of Economics, Thomas University. Our guest pricked up. "Oh, what is your group? Our son Eddie also studies in that department." I blushed. Group EF 2020. Eddie, who was sitting next to me, was very surprised and started asking me questions that I could not answer. "Is that a group? Who is your tutor?" It was clear from my confused face that I didn't know what to say. Mom looked at me suspiciously. I tried to joke to deflect the convo, saying that the guests were probably tired of hearing about my studies and we should talk about something else. And I quietly waited for the moment to leave the table. Just as the guests began to discuss politics, I immediately ran to my room. Closing the door, I was wondering what I should do. Mom was on to me, I'm sure, and Dad looked at me suspiciously. Several hours had passed, and the guests left. As soon as the door slammed behind them, my parents immediately called me downstairs. On nervous feet, I went into the kitchen where my dad asked me for an explanation regarding my studies. I was about to say that everything was fine, but my mom asked me what my student number was to check up on my group and progress. I stood motionless. I lowered my head and began to cry. Everything became so clear to my family. The sisters were shocked. My mom looked at me with anger, and so did my dad. They said that they did not expect such lies and shameful behavior from their daughter, that I should have simply told them the truth instead of choosing to lie. My parents scolded me for a while. I just wanted this to end. "All right already, I got it. I'm not a little girl anymore. I can't decide for myself. Just stop with the lecturing." My father looked at me disappointed, shrugged his shoulders, and said that since I'm an adult and I know everything, then I should pack my stuff and live how I think was right. "Are you kicking me out? Your own daughter?" I was at a loss. Has my family gone crazy? So what? I'll live by myself. Angry, I went up to my room, got the first things I came across and called a taxi. This whole thing was just awful. My parents scolded me all the time as a schoolgirl, and now I could not remain silent anymore. Leaving the house, I thought they'd try to stop me, tell me not to leave, but nothing. I got into the car with tears in my eyes. But where do I go? I gave the driver the address of the university, realizing that I had nowhere to go. The taxi driver left me at the gate of the college, and I walked to a bench with my suitcase and started crying. I felt so sad and hurt. Suddenly, a woman sat down next to me and asked me what happened. I told her everything, when suddenly she offered to show me something. We went into a large library, and the woman said that her name was Miss Johnson. Apparently, she had been a librarian at the university for over 20 years, and since I was in such a dire situation, she'd help me. She kindly offered me to stay in her room until I found a job. I was so glad and said yes. To thank her, I helped her with her job, cleaned the shelves, kept the library hall organized. Several days had passed and my dad texted me. He asked me to return home and ask for forgiveness. I refused and said that I'll be living in the university and I wouldn't return. It became personal for me to pass the retake exam, and I studied hard, and Miss Johnson helped me pick out the right textbooks and reading material. The day of the exam came, and guess what? I passed! I got an excellent score and managed to get in with a scholarship. I was so relieved and happy. I immediately called to tell my family. Everyone was so happy, but Dad jokingly asked if I was lying this time too. In general, I got my happy ending, and I'm grateful for everything that made me more mature and independent. And I promised always to tell the truth and never lie like I did. If you liked the video, then please leave a like and subscribe to our channel.
Hey, Paige Janelle here. And today I will tell you about how it is sometimes so much fun to live a double life and why I chose this path. I will say this right away, it wasn't easy for me at first, but humans can adapt to any conditions. So now everything is fine with me. Well, let me start right away. First, I'll tell you about my family. I have a dad, a mom, and an older brother named Alexander. Even at home, we call him that. Oh no, it's not his wish, but rather our mom's. I call him Alex and he calls me P. Our parents hate it when we do this, and therefore we only call each other by nicknames in their absence. Our parents are sophisticated people. My dad owns a jewelry store and he loves poetry, and my mom paints. And you guessed it, she loves art. I don't know how they ended up with children like my brother and me. At first, everything was the way our parents wanted. Alex and I grew up in harsh conditions, and we were raised in a strict household. My brother was raised as a gentleman, and I was raised as a lady. From very early on, we were used to eating with a fork and knife. We knew everything about table setting, manners at parties, and how to talk to adults. It was hard to learn all the rules, but we tried, and grew up the way my dad and mom wanted. But sooner or later, there comes a period when a little rebel wakes up in kids, and we were no exception. I first noticed my dark side when I had a fight at school with one of the girls. My dad taught me to resolve issues like a diplomat, but as it turns out, not everyone understands that way. The scandal erupted after school and a bit far away from the building, so no one saw us. That day, everything went wrong, and I wasn't in the mood. And then came Nasty Carrie. She was from our class, and I knew that she had a big crush on my brother. One day, she asked me to introduce her, but I politely refused because I knew that he would not like her. My brother preferred skinny, short girls, and she looked like a man in a dress. Despite her height and weight, I wasn't afraid, and I was the first to hit her in the face after she called me a whore. I couldn't just stand there and watch her insult me. Of course, I could accept some criticism from people, but what she was saying wasn't fair at all. Carrie was a dumb idiot and she decided to come for me. But am I to blame that she was fat with a man's face? For the first time in my life, I hit someone with my fist and in the face, and I liked it so much. I don't know how I hit her, but Carrie was knocked out with one hit. And this was just the beginning. My friends' jaws dropped and they clapped at me and I smiled. To be honest, I've never gotten so much pleasure before. I slept badly that night and I kept wondering why I enjoyed the fight. Why wasn't I scared like before? And maybe I should try something else, something that my parents forbid? And what if I like it as well? This thought haunted me, and then I finally fell asleep. The next day, Carrie came up to me. I thought that she was going to take revenge, but she said hi and said that I surprised her. She invited me to a club. It was a closed club, and she said for the elite. I took the invitation in the form of the ticket and promised to think about it. I didn't really want to get involved in a bad company, but on the other hand, did I really not want to? I thought about it for 2 days and weighed everything, and I finally decided to go. I opened my closet and realized that apart from long dresses, trousers, and blouses, I had nothing else to wear. So I put on some pants and a shirt and went to the club. It was in a small garage in Carrie's house, and it honestly looked like a garbage dump from the outside, but everything inside was very cool. Lights, sofas, and even a fridge. I went inside and everyone was surprised at my arrival, but Carrie told them everything. She said that she felt the demons in me and wanted to free them. I did not understand what that meant, but I went inside and sat down on the sofa. One of her friends laughed at my appearance. She said that even her grandpa did not wear those types of trousers and shirts. I felt a bit embarrassed, and then Carrie asked if I was ready to start a different life. I did not answer right away, but then I said yes, I was ready. Then, a third girl came up to me with a cigarette in her mouth and put it out quickly, took scissors, and cut my trousers up to my thighs, making them into shorts. I was so shocked, but I did not interfere. And then she cut off the long sleeves of my shirt and tied it in a knot, making it a top, put some red lipstick on me, and voila! I looked completely different. So edgy, confident, sexy, and just completely different. I loved my new look. Carrie said that she liked me and that she was the boss there. She invited me to join the gang if I followed the rules. First, it was the dress code, and second, we had to stir things up and hang out together and help solve each other's problems. I was so interested and a little bit scared, so I asked Carrie what demons she was talking about, but she said that I would soon see them myself. And it did happen. The first task was to go with them to some sort of fight. It turned out that Stephanie, the one who changed my outfit, had her phone taken away by someone from another gang. I didn't know, but it turns out that they had their own little groups, and some of them did not get along with others. Our Stephanie was offended, and we had to stand up for her and to defend the honor of the sisterhood. So we met up at nighttime, somewhere near a junkyard, and at first Carrie was negotiating, but it did not last long because the leader of that group spat in Carrie's face. A real fight erupted. Without hesitation, I jumped on the girl who spat on her face and managed to pull out a clump of her hair. She hit me in the leg and it was very painful, and I received a blow in the stomach, arms, and my neck, and I almost fainted. But then I hit her with my signature blow and the enemy was defeated. She passed out and we won. I gave the phone back and I also took all the money and food. I came back home all excited and happy. My inner demons rejoiced. It's like they burst out after so many years of imprisonment. I couldn't go in looking like that, so I climbed through the window, quickly took a shower, and changed into my usual outfit. And this is how I lived. We not only had fights and also hung out in clubs until the morning, and I also came home through the window, quickly showered, and when I stayed home, my parents and I discussed the latest news of the high society. I loved it. I saw my other dark side and I liked it. And then one day, my secret surfaced. When I again was climbing through the window, at that moment, my brother came into my bedroom. He was surprised to see me in a black outfit, torn tights, and bright makeup. I was scared and confused. Alex suddenly closed the door because my mom was trying to enter. She wanted to know what was going on and he said that I was sleeping. Shh, do not wake her up. Please, she played the violin until late at night, he said, and mom left. I thanked him. I did not expect this from my brother, and he suddenly showed me a tattoo on his entire back. So, it turns out that my brother was a rebel as well. So we went on a walk with him to talk. He was of the same opinion as me. We were bored of living like our parents, and he had the same opinion as me. We were bored of living like our parents, and their motto is, nothing is allowed, everyone is bad except them. Alex and I were both tired of the rules, and so we decided to taste some freedom. Since then, my brother and I have been protecting each other before our parents. But to be honest, I still love living like this. So, what do you guys think? What would you do if you were in our place? If you like this story, then give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.